Tonight, the Omaha City Council denies a liquor license for a convenience store. Opponents said it wasn't right for the neighborhood.
But as Brian Mastery reports, the State Liquor Commission will have the final say.
Mega Saver wants to add its 29th store to the market by turning Fuddruckers at 72nd and Dodge into a convenience store, complete with 4 gas pumps. The restaurant's been vacant for nearly 4 years.
I don't think that decision on having a gas station there that would be beneficial for the city should be driven by some activists in the neighborhood.
Neighborhood leaders question whether it's the right fit for the busy intersection, especially with $1 billion worth of improvements across the street with the new Central Library and Crossroads development.
It's the most important intersection that donors have given so much funding to reimagine the city, to reimagine this conversion of various sectors of the city.
And you don't think Mega Saver fits that?
It doesn't fit that. It's not going to be a transformative landmark at any point.
We've done everything within our limits.
For 2 hours, supporters and opponents explained the pros and cons of whether the City Council should approve the liquor license. The proposed site is in Danny Begley's district and across the street from Pete Festerson's.
Part of the site is very hard to navigate for customers, very difficult for the surrounding neighborhood. We have plenty of other options along that corridor for convenience and gas type offerings.
We have a balance on the council when these applications come before us, but I've heard very clearly from the neighborhood association.
Both Begley and Festerson, along with Ron Hugg and Juanita Johnson, denied the liquor license based on neighborhood concerns. Mega Saver officials argued they've done all that's been reasonably asked, and that legally nothing prevents a private company putting a convenience store here, and that opponents' personal taste when it comes to a business selling alcohol shouldn't stand in the way.
John and Jacqueline, just because the City Council denied the liquor license, it is possible the Nebraska Liquor Commission could vote entirely different. On your side in the newsroom, Brian Mastery, 6 News.